Join us for the new BMW X6 M50i right here in our review. Let's go! And that was already 110. Please subscribe if you haven't done so far. And here, the all-new BMW X6, it has a different double kidney than the X5 actually, so a little bit different from the form. And if you compare it to the predecessor X6, this one here even stronger in the front. And of course, this new three-dimensional look of the double kidney. Closed fins here at the moment on the inside, they open on demand, so this is more efficient than that they just open when the additional airflow is needed. As the M50i, it has also a stronger lower bumper and those air intake style here in the lower parts, so really aggressive. Riverside blue is the color for today. Yeah, a nice Thomas blue, as we call strong blue tones here on Autogefuehl. 4 meters 16 foot 2 or 195 inches is the length of the X6. It's the same as for the X5, so also the same wheelbase. Whereas Mercedes differentiates the wheelbase between GLE and GLE Coupe, they go for the same wheelbase right there. And that means also they have the same features and somewhat the same driving dynamics. However, the X6 is set up a little bit sportier as for the suspension. Suspension starts with an adaptive suspension directly, then there's an adaptive M suspension with a little bit stiffer setup, and then optionally you can also go for the air suspension. And also this one here directly gets the rear differential lock, the M50i. And what you can also get is the rear axle steering. They call it integral active steering here now with BMW, that it also includes this rear axle steering feature to reduce the turning circle and to make it a little bit more agile at slower speeds. The rear is where the biggest design change happens here if you compare it to the outgoing model. Here, more horizontally drawn tail lamps, and that makes the rear on the one hand more elegant, on the other hand it stresses the width also. Then this additional spoiler lip here in the vehicle color. M50i badge right there, and also this M-Performance model gets the grey contrast in the lower part together with the vehicle color diffuser style, and those are beauty exhaust tips on the outside, the rear ones on the inside, and 4 exhaust pipes actually here for this V8 model. So apart from a small engine for the Chinese market, the X6 worldwide is all about those 3-liter 6-cylinder engines, and in this case also the 4.4-liter V8. So the M50i here, 4.4-liter V8, 530 horsepower, and just over 4 seconds the acceleration figure to 1 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. All-wheel drive, of course, with the rear wheel biased is standard. As an alternative, there would also be the 40i, which is a 3-liter 6-cylinder petrol engine, 340 horsepower. The consumption difference will be about 3 liters on 100 kilometers or 10 mpg, so the 6-cylinder definitely more fuel saving. And then there's also a diesel side, especially for the European markets, either a 30D, that's in a 3-liter 6-cylinder, in this case then with 265 horsepower, and also the M50D, the strong diesel, same base engine so to say, but a higher horsepower tune than with 400 horsepower. Then higher interior build quality if you compare it to the predecessor. Hofmeister King design element here for the door handles on the inside. Everything galvanized as for this part. Really cool. Then carbon fiber inlets here for the M50i. You can also get different decor elements, of course, for the X6 in general. Reasonable door pockets also for bigger bottles. Then the M50i also gets those entry badges and also aluminum pedals. Next to a sportier M steering wheel, which can also be heated with a separated button on the steering wheel. And those seats here are also a sportier version. So for the X5, for example, you can also get other base seats. The X6 is already a little bit sporty in some elements. And sadly for the X6, only animal skin seats available so far. In the X5, you can also get the more sustainable and animal-friendly SensorTech material. I really love the combination as for the color. Just wish this one was also available in SensorTech, but I would probably go for the BMW individual program and then order a SensorTech for me, because obviously it's possible. But I mean, this combination from the blue to the beige is just beautiful. You know, the color combination, that's really cool. Seats from the form is really comfortable. You have the upright seating position. It's not too different from the X5. Of course, the A-pillar here is a little bit flatter, so in the X5 you have a little bit more open feeling. Here, sportier, somewhat more caged-in feeling, but still you get this elaborate, high, big SUV driving feeling, which is pretty cozy and pretty comfy. Then the steering wheel can be adjusted here with the electric support, and you can find a good driving position. And even if you're 1.86 or 6'1", as I am, still some headroom left, so for tall people, no problem. But again, the X5 will be a little bit better as for this case. Interior overview, everything is very well organized, but also digitalized. Here we got the carbon fiber inlets, and this digital cockpit is also standard 12.3-inch screens on both sides, actually. Soon leads to those screens and also the other ones right there. First of all, the steering wheel, again with a compact size, M form. Then on the right side, you can activate the voice activation with a button, or also say, "Hello BMW, drive me to Berlin." That would be one example. Okay. So for the GPS input, for example, that works very well. Some takes a while, if you know, depending on the web connection. But here you can see, works pretty well. You can also change the temperature for that and also ask the car some things, and you can just try it around. And it's a good system, the best one at the moment, together with the MBUX of Mercedes. Then the rest of the steering wheel. On the left side, you have the adaptive cruise control, also with the highway mode. It can also change lanes, by the way, if it's allowed in your country to do that. The shifting pedals here also, plus and minus, or with the 8-speed automatic converter gearbox. Then, if we go back to the middle part right here again, zoom more details to that screen. First of all, the climate unit is still separate here. You can control it while driving, like this. And also with AC on and off, that's cool. I like to be able to do that, to shut off the AC sometimes if I like to. Not possible in the 3 Series, by the way, but here it is. Then the lower part with the metal knurled knob for the volume. And some hotkeys you can set individually. Then this carbon fiber middle part. I'm not sure about this folding process, not too happy about that all the time, but that looks cool when it's closed. Infotainment system detail right there. So, whoa, yeah, that takes some processing power, but if you're closer up, then also it's more responsive. Good GPS direction, routing here as well. You always have the hotkeys to be able to go back to the main menu. Phone connection, either Bluetooth or then with the Apple CarPlay wireless. That time it also connected quite fastly, and the sound system built in here is also quite cool. So we have the nice surround sound. I like that. Those digital instruments give you a good overview of what's happening, and also the M50i gets a special badge in there. And yay, we also have a blue car as a visualization, so that is very fitting. And if we turn on the car, you can see everything. Yeah, the steering wheel also moves down. That's also a comfort feature. It comes towards you a little bit. Left side speed, right side RPMs. And if you have a route set, you can also see there's a map on the inside. That's again also the reason why they made the RPMs counterclockwise, so they have more spacing on the inside for the, yeah, Jonas likes to rev it up, man. So overall, I think a very cool instrument right there. Not as flexible as the ones that Audi is offering. You have more, situations where you can flip it around or change the view, but actually this is all you need. So I can also understand the decision just to leave it like this, because you don't have the urge to change anything there. Now to the rear compartment, which is very interesting. First of all, also soft materials at the inside of the doors right here. Nice design, same as in the front. And you can already see, yeah, there's not abundance of space. I mean, there's a little bit more room than in the previous generation, yes. However, if you consider the length of the vehicle on the outside, then the space you have on the inside, it's of course somewhat limited. And the big question is also, what about the roofline? What does it do? And I mean, the bench here is falling backwards a little bit. That ensures you to have some more headroom left. I always say that falling backwards benches are not that comfortable. That's what I experienced. So you can also see that, here the space then under my legs. So I don't like it that much. I found it more comfortable in the X5. Legroom wise, it still works somewhat, yes. But again, the package is bad. So we have cars that are way shorter and have more interior space, but it still works for 4 tall adults. Even headroom is no problem, because they adjusted, somewhat of the rear bench. To open the rear hatch, you can either use the button in the lower part, you can click on the key, you can click on the inside of the door in the driver's part, but you can also use the foot kick opening mechanism like this with a short kick. Here we go. And then it opens, and yeah, you're of course a little bit limited if you compare it to the normal SUV form. You have this little bit weird folding mechanism here for the top cover. In width, it's all the same, in length as well. It's just the height right here, but the boot volume is also measured below the cover, and that means they don't differ that much. Here in the X6, 580 to 1,525 liters, whereas the X5 has 645 to 1,860 liters. So that's in the first liter figure only a difference of 140 liters. And again, the reason is that it's measured below here, and then the difference is not too big. What about the child safety test? When I use this one here, that's pretty sensitive, so very well done. Up and down again. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the M50i here of the all-new X6, and we can put it to sport mode, and yeah, don't have to care about that or have to worry about that. The engine is already warm. We've driven like a lot of kilometers already, so it's no problem to also put the shifting stick to the manual shifting box and then also go to the track or sport traction mode, dynamic traction control activated, and then we can really also floor this engine out. This will be pretty amazing, and you can also listen to the V8 sound. So let's go. Plop, and that was already 110. Whoa. And I was not even starting in a straight line. I had to steer a little bit. You maybe have seen that. And this all-wheel drive brought all the traction to the ground, and yeah, great sound from the V8 engine. Wow. So very impressive acceleration, and yeah, that must have been somewhat 4 seconds. So wow. So the X6, a little bit sportier in the orientation as the X5. Also, we do not have the air suspension in here. There's the adaptive M suspension. This car standardly comes with the adaptive suspension and makes the car a little bit sportier, and the air suspension more like a carpet ride. But the air suspension, both for X5 and the X6, is laid out in a quite sporty way, definitely. In any case, if you are in a sport mode, you have more feedback from the road, so this feels really stiff now. Together with the anti-roll control or anti-tilt control, this really keeps the car upright. So although we're in the big, high-seating SUV, I mean, if I do induce some slalom here, you surely see that already on camera. The car just keeps straight. It does not lean anywhere. So that's really amazing and astonishing for a car of that size, of that segment. So yeah, that really feels sporty, and the car feels smaller and sportier than it actually is segment or vehicle type wise. So yeah, wow, that's really amazing. What I also want to do is do just a short turnaround to show you like how how flexible this car still is somewhat. Also, we can show you something of the camera systems. Because I mean, it's not a small car, but still, when you use the camera systems and also this rear axle steering, then you are somewhat still flexible because the turning circle is reduced. So I can also turn the car around right here. You don't exactly see it with your own eyes how the rear wheels are turning, but you somehow feel that, especially in the low speed areas, the car is definitely more agile. Like here, there you, for example, feel it. So it fakes a smaller wheelbase, so to say. Then you can always go back to the sports mode and you see how it accelerates when it's already at speed. Here, for example, again, 50 kilometers to 100. Plop, and that's already it. That was 107 already. Wow. And you see that the car really there's an anti-tilt control right and left, but just from this pure acceleration, the car leans backwards then when it accelerates, like that's always definitely funny to experience. And I'll use the next right turn also to show again how stable the car stays in the corner actually. And the corner speeds that are possible with this big SUV are also amazing. Look at that here now, and wow. Little bit rubbing the tire to the ground, but see how upright the car went there. That's really amazing. So big and heavy SUV, but it feels so sporty. That's actually what they wanted to achieve, and indeed they could. And that has also been further enhanced with this generation. So pretty impressed with that, definitely. And back here for our conclusion for today with the all-new BMW X6. In the exterior, it is a little bit sportier and more elegant than the previous generation, so I think that works very well. Interior, step up the build quality, and of course we know it already from the X5 that isn't too different. Really a very lovely interior. Sadly, unlike with the X5, no animal skin alternatives yet. At least BMW promised that they're working on that, and also of course for future models, but still a disappointment right here. Then the interior space, I mean, it's more or less the same also with the X5, just that the trunk space, you can live with that, no problem. You lose a little bit in height then if you want to transport something which is really high, then the X5 is actually better for you. This one then if you prefer this sportier styling. Driving-wise, also somewhat similar to the X5, of course. This one set out from the basic setup, a little bit sportier, you do feel it. And of course, as the M50i, this is the most powerful, the most fun engine you can get so far. Yes, there will also be the X5M and the X6 M, which will be the most powerful then from the real M lineup. This one here, the M Performance model, so the most powerful from the normal lineup from the X5 and the X6. Definitely a lot of fun. Well, this 8-cylinder always has also a high fuel consumption, so that's no doubt, have to live with that. My pick would actually be the 6-cylinder petrol engine, both for the X5 and the X6, or thinking about even the PHEV model. This could be a very clever choice. This one here, if you really want this V8 sound, and if you, want to spend more money also on fuel. But definitely a great acceleration, a lot of fun when you really floor this car out. What do you think about the all-new X6? Please leave us your comments there in the section, and also see you next time.